guys, today is going to be my first episode in a new series that I'm starting, which is basically going to be doing things that are out of my comfort zone. So as you can see, I don't have any makeup on today because I am going to do a full face except for foundation, which is something I never do. I never play around with like only wearing concealer. Like if I do makeup, I go all out and I put on a full face of makeup, but it would be nice to just be able to know how to do a routine that's maybe a little bit quicker for, you know, if we're traveling or if I just don't have that much time to spend on my makeup for whatever reason. Usually I make time for my makeup, but if one of those occasions come up, I would like to know how to do something that's maybe a little bit more low maintenance. And also just in the summer, maybe it would be nice to sometimes not wear foundations because it is really hot here in Las Vegas. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do a no foundation look. I'm still going to do like my eyeshadow and all that stuff. So I think we're just gonna start because full face of makeup usually takes a while. And I also want to demonstrate to you guys how I do my colorful smoky eye. So many people ask for a quick tutorial on how to do that when I mentioned it in one of my previous videos, so we're gonna do that as well. I was gonna say let's go in with the concealer, but since I haven't actually prepped my skin, all I've done is put on some toner. I'm gonna go in with my Juno & Co. Moonshine Cream. I've been using this as my primer recently and I've been really enjoying it. So here's how I kind of scrape it out of the packaging because it is a little bit messy to put my finger into it. So I'm just going to take a little bit here. I don't like to use a lot of this because it's a very heavy cream and I'm just going to warm it up on my hands here and then basically use this as my primer today. So I'm just going to smear this all over my face, obviously, because it's kind of how you put on creams, you know? Alright, so I feel like this has sunk in enough, so the concealer I want to use is going to be my Tarte Shape Tape. Mostly just because I feel like this is the concealer with the best color for me right now because I do have a bit of a tan and I think that this is the darkest concealer that I do have in my collection. It might still be a little bit too light for this purpose because I've never tried this before, so I don't know if this is really going to like highlight all of the places where I put on concealer. I hope not. So I'm definitely going to go ahead and put quite a bit under my eyes here because those dark circles needs to go. And I can also see that I have some redness on my nose. It's kind of weird because I always feel like my skin looks so much worse on camera than it does in real life when I'm not wearing any makeup. So it's easy for me to look in a viewfinder and like pinpoint the spots that are really sticking out to me here. So I'm just going to try to be very light with this. I don't want to use my concealer as a foundation and like put it everywhere. So we're going to just start with this and like see how this goes. So I'm just going to use a brush to blend this out with because that is what I always do when I blend out cream products because I just prefer how things look when I use a brush here. So I guess what I'll do is once I've kind of blended everything out, I will sort of go in with whatever is left on my brush and kind of just buff it over the rest of my face just so that we don't have very clear spots where I put concealer and where I didn't. So like, I think that this color is going to work for me. I don't think it's going to be too light. I definitely have a bit of a tan now because I have been outside going for walks a lot lately because it's just been really nice here, and walks is one of those things that it just makes me happy and I just find it to be extremely relaxing. So I always tend to get a bit of a tan like before the summer starts, and then once the summer is here, because it is so hot, all I do is I stay inside until it's dark out, and then I'll go for like night walks if I want to go for a walk. So I never have the best tan like in the middle of the summer. My tan is always like leading up to the summer and then after the summer because that's when the weather is nicest here. So I think this is looking pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to, like I said, take whatever is left on my brush here and just kind of buff this into my skin to make sure that everything is looking nice and smooth and blended here. So I actually don't think that this looks bad at all. I am going to go in with a tiny bit more just right in this area here because I do have some breakouts and a little bit of dry patches because I've been picking on them because I just can't help myself. I'm just one of those people. If I see something on my face that's poking out, all I want to do is just pick at it all day. So I am going to put on just some extra coverage right where I feel like I need it. And then what I'm going to do before I set this, I'm going to go in with my Fenty cream products. I have a bronzer as well as a blush. I'm currently trying to open it, but that's really hard to do with one hand. But I did make a video with both of these and I will link that in the corner if you want to see me or my first impression with these. But I really have been enjoying them and I just think that they're great. Honestly, I don't have anything to complain about with any of them. So my bronzer is in the shade Macchiato. And I just find it to be like the perfect bronzer shade for me, and it just goes on the skin so nicely. And I don't think I want to put any powder products, as in like a powder bronzer or a powder blush over the top of these. I think I just want to do the creams and then powder it over the top and just kind of see how that looks, because if I'm gonna do a no foundation routine, I don't want to add on like an extra, or like the whole point is like to cut down the time that I spend doing my base, if that makes sense. So I don't want to spend the same amount of time putting on like all my powder products when I can just use the creams and hopefully have that look okay. Next, I'm gonna go in with the blush here. This one is in the shade Strawberry Drip. I just love this color so much. I could literally marry this blush. It's just so beautiful. And I find the pigmentation to be just perfect, like for my skin tone. This color is just everything. It's definitely on the glowy side, so I do need to set this. Maybe that could be another video where I try not to set my makeup and just kind of see how it holds up on my oily skin, because I've never actually tried to not set my makeup, but I know for myself that my makeup usually does break up even when I do set it. So for me, it just feels like a necessity to set my makeup. I don't know. Do any of you have oily skin and you don't set your base? I would love to like just hear how that holds up on you and how long your makeup lasts, because I can't imagine my makeup lasting more than like, I don't even know, 6 hours if I'm lucky at the most, if I don't set my base. So I'm gonna go in with some powder. I'm gonna use my Anna Sweet powder because I just absolutely love this. And I'm just going to set all of my face, like I said. Like, I can't imagine not setting my whole face. Maybe what I should have done is I should have gone in with some cream highlighter, but I don't even know if I have a cream highlighter. I feel like I've decluttered all of them. That is just not a step that I really usually care for. Alright, let's take a look. So, honestly, I don't hate this, which I kind of thought I would, but I don't really think this looks that bad. Let me know. I mean, obviously it's not going to look exactly the same on camera as it does in real life, but I think this looks okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off camera and do my brows real quick, and then I'll come back and we can focus on the eyes. I also need to put on some highlighter, but we'll do that after I'm done with the eyes. So I'll be right back once my brows are on. Let's go into the eyeshadows now. I did just go ahead and prime my eyes with my NARS primer, and I think the palette that I want to use today is going to be the Ace Beauté Oceanic palette. I haven't used this in such a long time. Is it Oceanic or Oceanic? I think it's Oceanic. I always confuse those two. But since this palette has mostly greens and blues, this is the perfect palette to do a colorful smoky eye with. Basically what I like to do is I like to pick out a crease color. So let's start by doing that. And I want that crease color to have a shimmer shade that's going to be just a little bit darker. So when I look at these, I'm first looking at the dark shimmers to see like what depth of color that I want. So I could definitely use these two together. Like, these two would be really nice. The shimmer might be a little bit lighter than this color, but it's okay as long as they're basically like close to being the same. I could also use these two together. I could use these two together. I could use these two together. I could also probably use these two together. I'm not really sure. It just depends like how dark you want to go. I find that it's easier to blend a bit of a darker shimmer into a lighter matte than it is to blend a lighter shimmer into a darker matte. I don't know. It just depends on your eye shape too, whatever you think looks good. But basically what you want to do is just pick two of the same colors, one matte and one shimmer, and then just put them on your eyes, you know? So I think where I want to go with this is I want to use these two colors right here, because I do want this to be sort of a grungy look, because I feel like with what I'm wearing today, it's just going to make the most sense. Like, I kind of have on some camo looking earrings as well as a camo shirt, and it just sort of makes sense to go with like the more grungy tones. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take Seaweed and I'm going to put that into my crease. And if you wanted to, you could absolutely just smack this all over your lid as well if that makes it easier for you to blend it out. But I'm just going to go with my crease for now. And I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to build this up and blend this out in my crease where I want it to be. And this is definitely the wrong brush for that because it is too pointed. Let's try this instead. So it's been such a long time since I used this palette that I don't remember how I feel about the formulas in this. From what I remember, I didn't really like the shimmers in it because I found them to be a little bit just hard to pick up on a brush, which is always a bit of a deal breaker for me. If you've been on my channel for a while, you probably know that. And I also don't think that this is really building up the nicest. Not gonna lie, it's looking a little bit patchy here. I do really like the color of this though, and I definitely feel like this is going to come together once I put the shimmer on the lid, so the crease doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. So once I put this in my crease, I'm also going to take it down to my lower lash line, but I'm just going to do this eye first. And then I'm just going to make sure that everything is nice and blended out here. You can go in and do this after you put the shimmer on your lid as well, but I just want to make sure that it's a little bit more blended than it currently is. And then what I'm going to do on the lid is I'm going to take this shade right here, which is called Anemone, I think is how you pronounce that. I'm going to take this on a big packing brush and I'm just going to smack that all over my lid. It's not going to be a cut crease. Not going to do anything fancy. I am going to spray this though, just to make sure that I get this to be nice and intense here. And I'm just going to pack it all over and then just slightly blend it into my crease to make sure that these two colors are kind of going together here. And the beautiful thing about doing this technique is you can really do it with whatever colors you please. And it's going to be so simple and just take no time at all. So if you want, you could do like a pink smoky eye with a pink color in your crease and a pink shimmer on your lid. I mean, the possibilities are just endless, honestly. And then what you can do is you can decide if you want to go in with something fun in your waterline or something fun in your inner corner. I don't know what I want to do in my inner corner today. I'm thinking I want to do maybe like some kind of a grungy yellowy gold or something like that. Maybe that could be fun, but then I don't have anything to really go in my waterline that's going to go with this. But I could just use some kind of a green in my waterline and that would be fine. So I don't want to fuss with this too much because this is supposed to be a very simple look, so I don't want to spend forever blending. So I'm just going to quickly go in with that crease brush again one more time here, just to make sure that these two colors are like blended together. And then for my inner corner, I think what I want to do is I want to use this color in the Just My Luck palette from Colourpop. This one in the middle is called Mary Jane. It's almost like it's got a bit of a green olivey gold tone to it. It is such a beautiful shade, so I'm gonna pop that in my inner corner. And of course, if you want to, you could also do something like just a champagne or whatever face highlighter you end up using, and that would definitely tie together as well. Maybe even like an iridescent green could be nice with this. So I feel like maybe this is not light enough because I feel like it's almost the same shade as what I have on my lid, so maybe I'll just go in with something a bit lighter to brighten this up with. I am going to pop something in my waterline before we use any highlighter though, so I'm thinking there's a lot of things I can do here. I can definitely just go with a green. I think that would look nice. I could also use black, even though I don't really love using black in my waterline. I could do a yellow, I could do like a neon green or something like that. I could also do something blue maybe. Like I feel like this would look really good, but I just don't feel like with what I'm wearing that's like kind of the vibe that I'm going for. So I think I'm gonna use probably just like a dark green, more on like the olive tone side. Of course, if you don't have like a big selection of eyeliners, don't worry about this step and just use some black. But I think I'm gonna use this dark teal from Colourpop. It's called Fast Lane. So I'm gonna pop this in my waterline, do some liner and mascara, and then I'll come back and we can do highlighter and lips together. Alright, so the eyes are done and I want to put on some highlight. I'm not sure if I feel like my face looks complete. I almost feel like I'm lacking a little bit of blush. So maybe after I put on some highlighter, I will put on some extra blush, even though it was a step that I didn't really want to take. But for my highlighter today, I want to use one of the Jaclyn Hill loose highlighters. This one is in the shade High Vault. So we're going to put on a little bit of this. It's kind of like just a basic champagne, but it's so beautiful. I really, really like this highlighter. So let me go ahead and try to not go overboard with this because it is a loose highlighter, so sometimes it gets a little bit messy. But this just has the most beautiful, natural, wet looking finish, and it's just, oh, I just love this so much. Like it just blends into your skin so nicely. I'm gonna put a little bit on my nose here, and by a little bit, I mean a lot. Wow, that might have been a little bit too much, but it's fine. I'm also going to take the tiniest amount of this on a small pencil brush here and just put this in my inner corner. Just tap it a little bit over that green just to lighten it up in my very inner corner, just the tiniest amount here because I felt like it was a little bit too dark in my inner corner. And I think this just brightens everything up a bit. It does change the tone of my inner corner a little bit, which isn't ideal, but I did just want this to be a little bit lighter than it was. So I think that looks a lot better. So I think all that we're missing, do I want to put on more blush? I mean, the answer is always yes, so let's put on a little bit more blush. I'm going to use my Natasha Denona Mini Bloom Blush because with this hair color, I just cannot stop using this. I just think it is the perfect blush color for this hair color, and I'm also just going to layer it gently over that highlighter just to blend these two together. So I mean, I feel so much more like myself already with more blush on because I just cannot get enough blush. I don't know what it is. I'm just a sucker for blush, you guys. And then for lips, I just want to do something very simple. I think I'm gonna just go find a gloss that I can put on because honestly, I'm probably gonna go eat lunch after this anyway, so I'm just gonna take it off because I don't like being at home and eating and drinking with lip products on because, like, what's the point? So I'm gonna take this gloss here from Kevyn Aucoin. This is a gloss that I got from Octoly a while back. It's in the shade Spectrum Bronze. I don't know if I've used this on its own before, so we're just gonna see how this looks. I feel like this might be the kind of color that I would want to have a lip liner with, but let's try it anyway. You know what? I think this looks fine. I am looking at my skin though up close, and I'm not used to not seeing it look perfect. So it's definitely going to be a bit of an adjustment for me, but I do think that it looks okay. I feel like it definitely came together, and I could absolutely see myself like not using foundation every day after trying this. So I'm very happy that I gave it a shot because even though I have a lot of makeup on, I still feel like I'm just going to tone down my blush a little bit here because I felt like it wasn't very blended, but I definitely feel like it looks put together still. Let me know if you guys always wear foundation or like a full face of makeup, or if you sometimes just do concealer and then do a full face except for foundation. I would love to know how many of you do that because I feel like it's becoming more and more of a trend to not really wear foundation all the time, and I kind of like it, honestly. Like, as much as I like the look of having a full coverage or like a full face of a lot of makeup, I still think that you can get away with doing this without wearing foundation. So I'm very happy I tried this. Like I said, it's definitely out of my comfort zone, but I still think it looks good, and I feel like this is probably going to wear better than if I were to wear wow, that was tough. If I were to wear a foundation all day. Does that make sense? Because I don't really have that many products on my face, so like if I don't have products on it, it can't really break apart. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how this is going to wear. Let me know what else you want to see me do in this series. There's definitely certain things and like looks that I can't do because of my hooded eyes. I've had a lot of you request me doing certain like graphic liner types looks and stuff, but there's just certain ones that I just can't do because of my eye shape, which is fine. I can definitely modify it. I can definitely try different things, but just keep in mind that there might be a couple of things and techniques, especially eyeshadow wise, that just aren't suited for my eyes, and I'm not going to pretend like it is because I just know it's not going to work. But yeah, let me know what else you want to see me do in this series. I definitely want to do fake freckles at some point. I did order one of the freckle products that Betty Jean recommended, so I'm really excited to try that out. But yeah, let me know what else you want to see, and I can start a list because I do want this to be a series that I keep going because it will definitely push me out of my comfort zone and just make me try new things, which I feel like I need that. I feel like I've been stuck in my own ways for quite some time now, and I just want to kind of get out of that rut. So thank you for watching. As always, if you want to see similar content to this, I don't really know what that would be, but here's a few more videos. If you're new, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.